Destiny 2 is a social game, and that is its biggest problem. Let's talk about it. Last time I truly played this game was halfway through the season where crafting first came into the game. Upon return, one thing I will say is that I was absolutely overwhelmed with the mass amount of things that I could do, but also the problems that I faced of a lot of the things I didn't need to do because it barely really mattered to anything. Now, I do want to say I'm going to be talking about pinnacle gear and stuff of that nature. I am not going to be talking about the new Onslaught mode because quite clearly you get 1810 armor. So I want to talk about the experience prior to that event that I was around for very briefly. So what do I mean about Destiny 2 being a social game? I believe, and it's my opinion, that the best parts of this game is pretty much locked behind having a fire team of people that you know and trust. With the addition of Fireteam Finder, the game has had massive quality of life improvements for quite a few different events and experiences within this game. However, I will say that as a returning player, there is so many things that I could do, that I want to do, that is very, very difficult for me to do alone, which Fireteam Finder does not help me with. Not really. We have things like the dungeons, which when I tell people and they understand that I haven't done the dungeons before, I get kicked. If I'm not the right light level, I get kicked. And that to me is a crying shame. For instance, if I go search for the Whisper Legend at 1830, there's one group currently right now. Now, it's actually 1683, which is insane. I am 1825 on my other character, my main warlock. And I constantly get kicked from groups as soon as I join because I'm not the right light level. That to me makes all the things that are important for a returning player to do, to get these exotic quests, to do the dungeons, to get weapons with patterns, to get pinnacle gear, pretty much impossible. And after a couple of weeks of trying to figure it out, pretty much everybody just stops playing Destiny after that point. After 2 weeks back, I was at that point already. Now, because I'm back making videos, I've got a little bit of excitement behind me to kind of push forward and figure out how to do these things and actually complete all the things that I want. So where does it go wrong? In my opinion, the power level grind. Now, like I said, we're ignoring the idea that you get 1810 armor from the new event Onslaught. But if you're coming back and let's say you're even lower than I am on my hunter, you have to grind to get powerful gear to get you up to the point where you can start earning pinnacle gear. That isn't too difficult. However, the pinnacle gear then becomes the challenging part. I have been 1820, 1825 on my warlock with gear that hasn't been fully upgraded to the max. So I haven't put in ascendant shards into the game, and I'll talk about that in just a little while. When people see me without fully maxed out gear, I get kicked instantly, even if I'm over the light level for the event. That's the only thing that I can bring it down to, is that people are either kicking me for that or my guardian rank. Either or, you need to be able to get those up by yourself feasibly so that you can then join in all these events through the Fireteam Finder and stuff like that. Now, for me, Ascendant Shards, Enhancement Prisms, and the other one, the Enhancement Core, are not too difficult to get for solo players, but I just feel like it could be managed better by the game. So what do I mean by managed better? I believe that some of the rewards for a lot of the things that are available should be more accessible to solo players. If I go through everything that is on my kind of list, obviously you can get powerful gear from a lot of things, but we're talking specifically about pinnacle gear. We have one here, which is the hard reset partition, and it is pinnacle gear. You can do this alone. I've done this on my warlock. It takes a much longer time, but you can do it on your own, which is great. However, with a fire team and a social experience, you're going to get these done a lot quicker. And if you're a solo casual player, you have a little amount of time to play a week. This one here, the weekly mission, get a team score of 100,000 or better. Fairly simple. I guess it really depends on the mission, but I haven't once had a problem with this. So there's two great sources of pinnacle gear right there off the bat. A great addition to the game is the activities weekly down here, the 0 out of 3. You can do this 3 times and you'll get 3 exotics, which is pretty damn amazing. But I do want to talk about exotics in another video. So that is a great way to get powerful gear and to get exotics that you want. However, another easy access to pinnacle gear right here is the weekly earn points by completing nightfalls. That gives you 200,000 points. You can do that over multiple hero level nightfalls. Great way to get pinnacle gear. However, for Gambit and for Crucible, there is nothing to gain in terms of pinnacle gear from actually just playing the activity, which is a shame. And I think you can make very easy fixes to this, where something like if you play 30 Crucible games, you get 1 pinnacle gear, and you can just repeat that every 30 games. It's going to make people want to play the game to be able to get their power level up. It's going to make these playlists more healthy, and it might encourage people to actually take the game mode seriously and improve so that their experience is more engaging and fun while they're aiming for that pinnacle gear that they really want and need. Now, of course, with Crucible, Trials of Osiris is where you're going to get a lot of your rewards, but there's a lot of people who don't have time to put investment into Trial of Osiris. And also as well, they're going to be playing against constant teams of 3, which means their situation and their experience is going to be absolutely miserable. And that is why being a casual player and not being a social player really hurts you in the long run, because there is no reason for you to invest time into getting better weapons, better armor, higher power, when all you are going to be against is people who are in groups and social groups and getting kicked from social groups because you're not good enough for those people. It's just a very toxic cycle that solo casual players experience. And with Gambit, you could do the same thing. You could tie it to wins, or kills or something. I don't know. You could just put 10 wins in Gambit, get you a pinnacle gear. That to me is a reason for me to play Gambit beyond the bounties. And let's talk about the bounties, because with the vendors you do get pinnacle gear for doing 8 bounties. This is very easily done as a solo player. However, it can be pretty boring, but that's by the by. If you want the gear, you're going to have to go through some boring stuff. So right now we're looking at about 5 pieces of pinnacle gear that is very easily tied to being a solo player. There's also the Dares of Eternity, which I don't even think I've got to yet, but you can get a 250,000 point game will get you 1 pinnacle gear. That is also easily soloable, but you just have to get lucky with how the RNG works within the level. But it's also incredibly outdated and incredibly boring. So I would rather skip that pinnacle piece of gear and just carry on and have fun experiences in other places. However, that is a very easy way to get 1 piece of pinnacle gear. And unfortunately, that's pretty much all the pinnacle gear that's available on a weekly basis for any kind of solo casual player. Everything else is tied to dungeons and raids, which obviously you need to be a social player for, or at least know what you're doing, so that when you join a fire team, you might be lucky to find the right type of people. However, it's like a needle in a haystack for you to be the right level, to have the right gear, to have the right experience, to have the right guardian rank, to just being accepted by a team, and that team actually knows what they're doing too. So you're not spending 8 hours trying to complete 1 dungeon, which is fine, but it's also, like I said, as a solo casual player, you only have a limited amount of time a week to play. So where do you start to fix the game? The people who are hardcore every day, playing absolutely everything, grinding and farming, should get more guaranteed rewards, and then allow people who are solo casual to get common and uncommon rewards on different tiers, which I'll talk about. But firstly, let's talk about ascendant shards and stuff and prisms and all that kind of nonsense. There has always been so many different materials and currencies that you need in Destiny, and it's incredibly frustrating. So one of the ways that you can get ascendant shards and enhancement prisms as a solo player is through Rahul. However, it's very, very, very expensive. If I want to get 1 enhancement prism, that's 10 enhancement cores. So basically this game for a solo player is grinding enhancement cores so that you can transfer them to enhancement prisms, then buy ascendant shards so that you can upgrade 1 piece of gear. So your character has 5 pieces of gear. 1 of them is going to be an exotic. That's 5 ascendant shards plus the extra 2 for the exotic. So that's 7 enhancement shards that you need to fully upgrade your armors on 1 character. That means that you need 70 enhancement prisms, which means you need 700 enhancement cores just to do 1 character. Absolutely unbelievable. Also, on top of that, if you want to get a focused exotic, so I'm looking for sun braces on my warlock, it costs you 10 enhancement prisms to be able to focus it, which in my opinion is utterly ridiculous. It does not need to have a currency. Just take it from the glimmer. You don't even need to have the glimmer. Just let people who are returning casual players who are coming back to the game, trying to enjoy it and invest their time to get to the point where they're happy and excited to play the final shape, are going to get bogged down and turned away by stuff like this. This needs to be eliminated. You should be able to just pick that and hopefully get some braces. I also would dare to say that there should be some kind of vendor, much like the weaponsmith that came to Destiny 1, where a vendor offers you 3 separate exotics a week. So like you might have a head, a chest and arms one week, and then you get to go do a whole bunch of end game stuff like that's viable for a solo player, like nightfalls and stuff, and get a certain amount of kills with this or that or whatever, the kind of usual stuff that they have in the game already. And then you get to pick what your reward is from that. So you get a guaranteed exotic that you want per week. Even if you do 1 per week, I think you should do 3 per week. But even if you do 1 per week, that's fine. All this is going to do is going to allow people who are returning, who don't have the right gear, to be able to get this gear before the final shape. Now, to make it fair, let's just say that the exotics that you get from those quote unquote bounties don't have super high rolls. So you get anywhere between 55 stats to 62 or even 60. Just so that you have a fairly decent rolled exotic for you to make builds and be in a position where you're enjoying the game and having fun. So what else can you do to improve the solo player experience? Now, I definitely would say in Nightfalls, the hero, the master and the legend should allow for more drops. If I do hero because I'm a solo player and I've got to match with people who don't, might not know what they're doing, or for the most part are just slower than me, I should be able to get enhancement cores as common and enhancement prisms as uncommon. At the very, very least, I would even say enhancement prisms to common as well. Enhancement cores guaranteed. That's what I would like to see, because then you're getting the cores guaranteed. So I could sit and run 100 nightfalls a week and get 100 enhancement cores and let's just say like 30 enhancement prisms if I'm lucky. That gives me a whole bunch of things that I need and want to be able to invest into other things. Then when it comes to legend, there's no matchmaking, so you're already at a loss unless you find a fire team and you just get lucky. Ascendant shards should be the rewards in here. So enhancement prism should go to common and ascendant shards to uncommon. Then for the master, everything here guaranteed. So if you run the master, you get all of these things guaranteed every single time. That means the people who are at the 1840 and really grind it out and have a fire team just has oodles of fun and get oodles of rewards. But what it also will do is allow someone like me to be able to build up to get to the point of masters, because I don't even bother looking on legend. I just run the hero over and over again and hope that I get lucky. If I had better rewards at legend, then I would find fire teams. I would really focus on it because I know that the rewards from it will allow me to improve my game to be able to go after the big stuff. And for Gambit, why not just intrinsically allow people to get ascendant shards and enhancement prisms from specific things within Gambit? Let's just say, for instance, the 2 little witches that spawn, they might drop an ascendant shard for you. The HVT rarely will drop an enhancement prism, and even rarer might drop an ascendant shard. That means that you have a reason to chase these things down while you're playing Gambit. It gets you engaged in the game while you're going through the monotonous bounty stuff. And if you want to play more Gambit after the fact the bounty's done, you've got reasons to, because you will then be able to get more stuff that can help you make more builds and get better at the game. And for Crucible, it's kind of difficult to navigate this one because everybody plays Crucible all the time. Maybe just, I don't know, once every 50 games you might get an enhancement prism. Just make it intrinsically linked to the, I don't even know if you do get enhancement prisms from Crucible, to be fair, but just make it intrinsically available to you. So while you're playing all the other stuff and you're getting a whole bunch of rewards, and Crucible's way more rewarding than it ever was, it just might give you something that will help you out and just make you enjoy the game more. Then you have destinations. Why not invest into destinations to make them worth going to? So if you're on the planet for any specific reason because you have to, then you could go do patrols, maybe get an Ascendant Shard as a reward once you complete that patrol. Killing HVTs in the open might give you Enhancement Prisms or Ascendant Shards. The bounties that come from the actual vendors on each planet could be something akin to the Dreaming City with Pet Revenge, where you do 8 bounties for that week and then you get an Enhancement Prism or an Ascendant Shard. It gives you a reason to be engaged with the game, with the destinations, and just find something else to do with your time that isn't the same rigmarole of just doing Crucible, Gambit, Nightfalls. And what that does is it allows solo players to build up their builds, their stats, and find ways to engage with the game that will push them forward onto the harder content and join those fire teams confidently without being kicked for random reasons. Then they can learn the raids, they can learn the dungeons, and they can then go do and help other people with that too. There's no downside whatsoever to improving the quality of life for materials and growth within a casual solo player. Everyone else still gets those benefits, so the hardcore people can take advantage of it too. But for the solo players, it gets them to the point where they might start being a more involved player, which makes the whole game healthier. And one other thing as well that I think they should add is have specific rewards for the rank ups in your Guardian ranks. Like, you have to go through a lot to get these done and get them leveled up. And I don't even know if you actually do get rewards because I've only done it once to rank 7. But let's say you don't. You know, you can get an exotic piece that drops at like level 10, let's say, and then like Ascendant Shards and Enhancement Prisms on all the other ones. That then encourages people to want to do the Guardian ranks too, because right now there's just no point for me to do Guardian ranks at all. It's just a pointless endeavor. But that's about it. I want to say very quickly, if you're still around, I appreciate you. Leave a comment, tell me what your favorite color is. I don't know. I will say this is not a hate video. This is just my experience as a returning player and criticisms and potential fixes for something which I think would make the game even better than it currently is. Because Destiny 2 right now, I'm very impressed with. It's in the best place it's ever been since Destiny 2 released. And that's saying quite a lot because it's went through so many iterations and it's just got to a place where it's actually comfortable to play, whether you're a casual player or not. So I genuinely am happy where Destiny 2 is, and I just want them to make it better and more viable for solo casual players. So let me know what you think. How's your experience with the game? Does being a solo casual player just make you not want to play anymore? What are you thinking about the final shape? Do you think, you know, the fire team finder's good? Have you had good or bad experiences? Let me know down below in the comments. But thank you for watching. I have been easynow. You guys have been awesome.